Here we go. Let's do this.
We've got one life, one shot. Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? Addicted to Betterment, a podcast to inspire us to keep going, to try something new, to dream, to think big, bigger, to overcome. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Hey friends, David here with Addicted to Betterment. So I am going solo today. I'm going without my favorite podcast host, my favorite human, definitely the best and most attractive podcast host that I know, and that's my wife, Nikki. This is a joint collaboration between her and I, and it's probably not a good idea to go solo. So I'm reminded of being a father of 4 boys, and if you're a parent, you can relate to this. So I remember teaching my boys when they were super young to ride a bike. And we've all done it, all of us parents. It's one of the most terrifying and sometimes comical things that we do as parents. But, I remember, they're riding around on their training wheels and riding all over the neighborhood. And it comes the day where you're like, okay, it's time to take the training wheels off. And the first time that you take the training wheels off, you watch them, you're running alongside them and then you kind of let them go and you watch they're just wobbling all over the place and the bike's wiggling and you just know they're going to crash at any time. And somehow they keep going. Sometimes they do crash. So that's how I feel today. I feel like the training wheels have come off and it might be a little wobbly, but we're going to try to get down the road safely today. So I'm excited to talk about something. It's the end of the year. It's cold and snowy here in Indiana. And if you are listening to Addicted to Betterment, you're probably like me and Nikki and setting big goals and trying to consistently become the best version of yourself. If you're saying anything like 2025 is going to be my best year ever, or I'm going to break this habit in 2025, or I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to achieve this goal. Or maybe it's take the bucket list trip. Maybe it's start the business. Maybe it's actually have a good relationship. Man, the list is endless. And every area of life has its own list, right? And so I was thinking, let's try to figure out what action steps we can take to actually do that. So many times we have these big goals, these big dreams, these ideas, and then a year later, we're still talking about the same thing, or we're still trying to overcome the same thing. And what are some things that we can do that we can put in place to actually do the thing? And the first thing, number one, that I want to share with you, and let's dive in together, is you have to get clear on what that is. If it's a relationship, you have to get clear on what kind of relationship you want. You have to get clear on what the goal is. Maybe it's fitness. Rather than having these vague goals and obscure things that we're trying to accomplish, we have to get super clear and super specific on what that is. Maybe it's a financial goal. Maybe it's, I want to get out of debt. You got to get super clear on what exactly that is. Maybe it's break a habit that you've had for a long time. And you're like, man, this is the year I'm going to overcome. Number one is you got to get super clear on what that is. If I'm going to Key West, Florida, or if I'm going to Palm Springs, California, that's 2 very different directions. And I've got to get super clear on where I'm going so I know what direction to take and what turns to make and what things to avoid. And so often we just have vague ideas and we want to accomplish vague things. And, it's interesting in business. The more clarity you can give your team and the more clear goals and clear action steps they can take, without clarity, that there's nothing can be accomplished. Nothing can be done. And so I work with businesses a lot. And one of the things that business owners and individuals, one of the things I love to help people with is get super clear on what it is they're trying to accomplish. And I know for me in business, man, if I don't have clarity on exactly what I'm trying to accomplish and what my metrics are and what happens when I reach certain goals, it's debilitating for me. It's paralyzing. because I don't know what actions to take. I don't know what steps to take and what turns to make and what strategies to put in place unless I have very clear vision, very, very clear vision. So the first thing I would say, friends, get clear. Take the time, do the work. And we operate in our home. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. And so stay committed to getting clear until it's a hell yes. So often we waffle on what it is, and we have these, we're not really clear on what it is, and we kind of think this, and then we pivot and we think, maybe I'll get this direction, or I'm kind of half in and half out of my relationship. You're never going to have a good relationship unless you get really clear on what kind of partner you want to be, what kind of partner you want. You know, so many men that I talk to and work with, they're trying to kill it in business and they're unhappy in a relationship. And I want to say, hey, get clear on the man you want to be. Start there. Get clear on who you want to be, and then you can get clear on how you want to be that. Get clear on the business that you want to start. And then you can put the action steps in place. But the first thing, get clarity. Take the time, get clarity, and then you know where to go from there. And the second thing I would say to have your best year ever, or be the best version of you that you've ever been, or to do the thing, take the trip, whatever, decide. And you're thinking, David, that sounds so elementary. Of course you got to decide. No, you've got to really decide what it is that you want and what you're going to do. Because whatever you get clear on, if you haven't already done it, it's probably because it's difficult. If you haven't gotten the relationship that you really want, it's probably because it's going to take some work and there's going to be some resistance to achieve the goal. What's going to happen when you get clear and you say, this is what I want to achieve, and then you face big resistance and big obstacles? If you haven't already made a decision how you're going to overcome those obstacles and what you're going to do, you can't try to figure that out in the moment. If given the option, you're going to take the easier route. Here's an example. Let's say I'm like, man, I'm going to go 7 days without a cocktail. All right. And my wife and I are going to our favorite margarita place, our favorite Mexican place, and we're meeting some friends there. I have to have already decided that, guess what? Tonight, when everyone else orders a margarita, and dang, I love their margaritas because they're the best, I'm getting water. I'm not going to waffle on my way there and say, well, I know I said 7 days without cocktails, but I don't know. I have to have already thought about that. If it's your relationship and you're trying to overcome past hurt, past pain, or you're trying to have a difficult conversation, you have to have already decided how you're going to handle that conversation, how I'm going to handle if he or she doesn't act or say a certain thing. How am I going to handle that? How am I going to handle resistance when I'm trying to hit the goal? That things don't work out, that I get a no instead of a yes. What am I going to do? You have to have already decided what you are going to do and how you're going to handle objections, obstacles, negative situations. You have to have already decided before you get to that point. If it's to start a business, here's what I'm going to tell you, friends. It's not going to be easy. If it's to get out of debt, if it's to finally have a good relationship with your significant other, if it's, I want to lose weight, so many of us, man, we're going into this next year and man, I'm going to lose 30 pounds. I'm going to run a half marathon. Here's my ask. What are you going to do in week 4 when the motivation is gone, the excitement is gone, and man, I don't know. You have to have already decided what you're going to do. If you haven't already decided, committed, you can't negotiate with yourself. Already make that decision that you're going to do the thing and you're going to follow through. Then when you get to the obstacle, then when you get to the 3rd week into your weight commitment, you've already decided what you're going to do when that motivation leaves, or when the relationship isn't going as fast, or changing as fast, or whatever it is. You've already decided how you're going to handle that situation. You have to get clear you have to decide. And then third, you have to take action. Man, you know, my wife, Nikki, has a practice that I've adopted. And when she decides to do something or has an idea, she takes action immediately. So the practice is if I can do it in less than 30 seconds, I'm going to do it now, right now. So an example of that is, hey, I want to send a text to so and so and see if they want to meet for dinner, or send an email to try to get the meeting. Do it right now. Stop. Do it right then. Otherwise, you may not do it. So the best practical tip I can give you is take action right away. But take action. So what does that look like? In as you're preparing to have your best year ever, preparing to be the best version of yourself. When you're thinking that through, figure out what action steps you're going to need to take. Get clear, then decide, and then what action steps, and then take them. Take one. So we've all heard it. It's so cliche, just take the first step. And man, I have found over and over, as simple as that sounds and as cliche it is so practical and so true. So recently, I was working on this platform and this program that I was wanting to start in my community in Indianapolis, and I've had this idea for so long. And I knew how impactful it would be, and I was excited about it. It wasn't a lack of enthusiasm on my part. It wasn't even a lack of confidence. It was just this idea I'd been rolling around in my head, and I talked to several friends about, and they were like, "Oh man, that's awesome. You're so good at that. You should definitely do that. Oh man, that's so great." You know how many times I heard that? A ton. And I'm sitting at breakfast one day with a dear friend, and his name's Tommy Richardson. Tommy is 86 years old and just an incredible human. And we're sitting there talking about it. And he says, "So when are you going to do it? When are you going to do the first thing?" And I replied as I always do. I was like, "I don't know. I need to put some plans together." And he's like, "No, no, no. Let's get something in place before we leave breakfast today." And I'm not ready, Tommy. I actually need to think through. No, no, no. You don't need to think through. I just want you to start. Just put something on the calendar. Man, it felt overwhelming, but he was relentless. And because I love the guy and respect him, and he's an extremely wise man, I put something on the calendar. I sent some text messages out and said, "Let's do this." And I wasn't ready at all. Had nothing prepared. I felt completely overwhelmed. I truly felt like this is so stupid. I didn't put so many things in place, but I did it. And next thing you know, one thing led to another, led to another, led to another, and it took action. And it happened. And I can give 15 examples of that's working in my life right now where, you have this idea, you have this thing, just take a step, take action, get clear, decide. Don't wait till you get in the moment and face negative situations or obstacles to decide what you're going to do. You have to already decide, and then take action. Take an action, a small action. Recently my wife and I climbed Camelback Mountain in Arizona, and it was so fun. It was so fun. Lots of funny stories from that. But I remember driving with some friends as we were going to climb that, and we're about a few miles away, and you could see it up ahead. What in the world? And that's what we're going to climb. How in the world are we going to get up that? And the reality is, you park and you start walking, and you find the trail, and you just start climbing one step at a time. But you can't get to the top of the mountain unless you start climbing. And at the end of the day, we took some great pictures at the top, great views, incredible experience, but we had to start. You have to start at the bottom and just climb your way to the top. And it's one step at a time. So take action, whatever it is. I'm going to ask you to pause right now. Think about what that is in your life. And if you already know, what action steps can you take? Figure out the action steps and take a step. And I know you've heard it a million times. This is not new. None of this content is new. You've heard this over and over, but that first step leads to the next step, leads to the next one. And next thing you know, it's a snowball. And so I promise you, if you just take action, take the first step, it'll help and you'll get started from there. And then finally, ask for help. If you're anything like me, this is the hardest part. This is the hardest part. It's so easy to decide, commit, do the things, and, take the hard way. And it's so hard for some of us to ask for help. You know, I have this incredible group of friends in my life of, we'll call them alpha males who are driven, incredible. I look up to them, admire them, respect them. Honestly, I feel a lot of them are a little bit ahead of me in many areas in life. And man, the ones that I look at and respect the most that are truly killing it, the ones that are truly killing it, they're not afraid to ask for help. It's mind blowing. And the ones that I'm around and when I'm talking to them and I hear them talking, I'm thinking, dude, you're just posturing. You're not legit. This is for my brothers out there right now. If you're a female and you're listening to our podcast, thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry that I didn't have my favorite female on here today, but I'm going to ask you to close yours for a second and let me talk to my brothers. So fellas, listen, being a strong, driven alpha man, it's okay to ask for help. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you, as I said before, all of the strongest men that I know ask for help and share their feelings. If you're an alpha dude right now and you're like, man, that's just not me. I'm not the type to share my feelings and ask for help. I'm going to call BS. I'm going to call BS. I've seen you sharing your feelings at your kids' basketball games and at the Colts football game and at watching your favorite sports team. I'm going to call BS. You do share your feelings. You're not afraid to say how pissed off you are at the coach that coaches the other team or your favorite NFL team and the decisions that they made. You share your feelings all the time. Just because you feel like it brings you down a little or makes you less of a man to look at your fellow man and ask for help, I promise you, you will connect in ways you've never connected before. We got to eliminate this idea in our society that being vulnerable and asking for help makes you less of a man. I'm telling you, all of the men in my life that are alpha dudes that I would take into battle with me every single day against anything are the guys that don't hesitate to ask for help and show up with vulnerability. So ask for help, guys. Anything that is great to be accomplished can't be accomplished alone. If you can accomplish it alone, you're probably setting your goals too low. So in order to accomplish the best things in life, we need help. And man, it's amazing when someone asks you for help. All of us as humans are wired to say, absolutely. How can I help you? And the reality is we limit ourselves. We limit ourselves in what we can accomplish. Because if I limit my goals to only what I know or what I can accomplish, man, I'm going to live a miserable life. But when I set my goals high enough and I'm thinking, man, I can't get that without the help of my friend here, or without this business guy that I know who is genius in this area or has these tools or these resources, and he is so great at this, and I need his help. I'm not afraid to say that. Hey, man, I'm great in this area, and you've killed this. I need your help. In the best teams I have been on, I mean, I'm talking some incredible teams, is when people show up recognizing that they need each other's help. When you're around that one person who they know it all, they've got it all figured out. No, you're not good enough. I don't need your help. Man, they never accomplish the biggest things. But the people that I know that are most successful, both in the sports world and the business world, they are not afraid to ask for help. And they know that I need my partner. I need my teammate. So friends, get clear, decide, take action, and please ask for help. Well, guys, we made it down the sidewalk without crashing too hard. So thank you for being with me on this journey today. And man, excited for 2025. We have great things coming in the Addicted to Betterment community. And we are so grateful to be on this journey with you. And cannot wait to have my podcast partner back with me. So have a great day, friends. Thank you for being Addicted to Betterment with us. So you just listened to this episode. Now, join us in being addicted to betterment. Please subscribe to the show, share with your friends, tag us, and please take a moment, leave a review. Yeah, we do want your stars, but we really want the feedback.